Coggins to give us our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please bow your head. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come together this evening. We ask that you bless the students, our faculty, staff, and families that help us make our school system a great place. We pray that you will guide us in all ways so that we will seek your will in everything we do. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dr. Mathis, we have any special recognition?
No special recognitions tonight except one. Seated next to Ms. Davis Vineyard is the new reporter covering education for the Covington News, and that's Mr. Doug Moser. Doug, welcome. We're glad to have you. And pardon me? And Michelle is back.
Where's the baby?
How old is that baby now, Michelle? Wow. Congratulations. That's phenomenal.
And Dr. Mathis, we have no
No
public participation. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Meadows, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Baker. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same, motion carries. Need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Meadows, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Superintendent's report. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Dr. Carpenter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, board members, we'll begin with our financial report. As of December 31st, we completed 50% of our fiscal year. All total revenues are at 53.98% and expenditures at 50.99%. Local tax collections, if you take a look and compare with last year, they're slightly lower, and that's because of the processing of payments to us. The clerk, who processes those payments, had surgery mid-December at the county, and she just returned to the office on January 4th. So she'll be getting those payments up to date, and I anticipate those numbers being caught up for next month's report. If you take a look at expenditures, we're right on in terms of budget, 50.99% expended, 50% of the year complete. And some expenditures may look greater this month as we prepay some expenses such as insurance and software licenses, licensing fees at the beginning of the year. Also, we're required to forward fund our health insurance. You know, we talked about that earlier, so that's why some of those figures may look slightly over budget. In addition, as you all know, legislative session has begun under the Gold Dome, and as we hear things that may impact our budget, we'll keep the school board appraised. Any questions about our financial report?
Dr. Cobbin, one
Yes, sir.
observation. Maintenance and operation.
Yes,
I
sir.
see you're 327 under. Is that not entering that, or is that a miracle taking place there?
Give me your page number, Mr. Johnson.
It's on the first sheet.
And we're looking at maintenance and operations, 44.7,
Expenditures on the first sheet. Expenditure.
44.75% expended.
Right.
Yes, we are coming in, and that's what we normally do with maintenance. We are under budget at this point, and we'll monitor those requests very, very carefully, but of course, take care of those safety needs that we need to, and we anticipate us savings there. We kind of banked on it, so we're banking on it.
Okay.
To what may you be referring, or maybe you're not, with General Assembly?
General Assembly, there's been a lot of conversation that has come out of the State Department and Georgia School Superintendents Association about what may happen with various programs, one in particular being the insurance program. So we're just going to watch that carefully, and as we hear things, let everybody know, and that'll, of course, be a part of our budget process.
What do you mean, health insurance?
Health insurance.
Okay.
Dr. Carpenter, if you don't mind, could you explain, because I've had a few inquiries about it, some misunderstanding about who has actually absorbed the increase of insurance. Could you explain to the public and the board exactly how that works, please?
The conversation that's out there, there was a period of time, it has not occurred in the last couple of years, but there was a period of time in which the state supplemented community health for our classified employees' portion, insurance rates. And what's happened the last couple of years is they have not put any monies in those coffers. Thus, there's some conversation about those rates increasing, the employer portion of those rates. If the state doesn't pay that portion for the employer, for classified employees, then the district would have to pick it up. And there's a plan that I've heard a lot of conversation about that says over 3 years, they'll increase the employer portion of that rate, meaning Newton County School System, to make it plain, at a rate of $450 per month per classified employee. Now, the majority of our classified employees are paid, their benefits are paid through school system general fund dollars. But there is a small group of them that are paid through our nutrition funds that come in through our nutrition department. So just on average, and looking at that, if that plan were to come into effect, or go into effect, it would cost the school system about $1 million more per year. $1
A
million this
total
year.
of 3 by the end of fiscal
Yes.
14?
Of course, you've spent the same one, you'd be spending it
Now,
again
you,
plus another
yeah.
one.
Now, you
spend
say
two.
if, but didn't they approve that resolution in December?
Yes, but no vote has been taken in the form of a vote. I hadn't seen or heard, they haven't taken any votes. I think they're
That
what,
may
day
very well
3?
take place in the current general
Right.
assembly.
That's
Tell
what
me
we're hearing.
this, in the language of that resolution, you referred to classified, they referred to non-certificated. What is the difference?
They're pretty synonymous. It's those employees who are not certified employees, who are not certificated employees,
But-
that hold a Georgia certificate.
Why would they not use the term classified? Can you be classified yet non-certificated?
You can be both at the same time.
I
I
just-
think they're pretty much
it's
synonyms. They use
confusing
them as
to me.
synonyms. Newton County uses the term classified, but some districts use the term certificated and non-certificated employees. So they're pretty synonymous.
So school nutrition that comes from a different pot,
Mm-hmm.
or those folks would be classified.
Classified.
But would those increases, proposed or possible increases, take away from general fund? No.
No, it would mean that we'd have to spend more nutrition dollars on their benefit
So
program.
either way, it's
Right.
gonna hurt.
So but it would come from our nutrition fund. It wouldn't impact the bottom line in our general fund.
Okay.
But
But-
those were the funds that, the nutrition fund were some of the funds that we have been trying to figure out, or you guys have been figuring out using in other
Yes,
places
trying to
to
maximize.
save
Exactly.
money in the general fund.
So it would, for example, last year, I may be a little bit off on the figure, but I think nutrition contributed about $400,000 into the general fund via paying for those things, maintenance needs, electricity, that they could pay for and be in the clear in
So
terms of
those
paying
would be
for it.
monies we
But
wouldn't
if
have.
they're losing monies now and they're having to pay insurance premiums more on the employer side,
Yeah.
then maybe that dries up the dollars they can contribute to the, so it will impact us that way, indirect impact.
Okay, the reason I think some of the employees was thinking that that would come out of their pockets, and I just wanted to get some clarity.
Yeah, we got some calls on that. Some people had been reading or hearing things, or you know how things go, and they
Exactly.
had mentioned that it would, no, is that out of pockets? No, it's not out of their
Right, okay.
pocket, but it would come out of the school system's coffers.
Great. Okay, well, thank you for that clarification. Operations report?
Yes, sir. Before I begin with the report, I just wanted to share a letter with the school board from the Newton County Ministers Union. They said, "Dear Board of Education, the Newton County Ministers Union would like to thank you for your continued acts of kindness, use of your facilities and employees during our Thanksgiving community dinner. You continue to support this holiday tradition by spending your time, talents, treasures to aid in the feeding of over 800 needy individuals this year. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. We hope that each year we can continue coming together in fellowship to those in need." So that comes from the Newton County Ministers Union. And remember, you approve that each year.
Right.
And I thought that was nice that they might send a letter. Business and finance, let's look at our operations report. If you look at that one item there, November SPOS distribution, $817,075. That's a slight decrease of $9,757 from our October collection. Total SPOS 3 revenues for the first 23 months is approximately $19,390,359, averaging $843,059 per month. In comparison with SPOS 2, it averaged $830,490 for the entire 60-month period. So we're a little bit ahead of SPOS 2. If you move on to page 2, student transportation, look at your fuel costs there. The average cost of diesel fuel purchased during December was $3.10. Fuel was last purchased in November for an average of $3.21. And in December of 2010, look at that cost, it was $2.52. So that lets you know the difference between this year and last year. We had a project meeting, I'll go up one, I'm sorry, with McKnight Construction in terms of the Newton High School replacement. Just a great outfit, doing great work. They're 8 days, they reported as recently as today as being 8 days ahead of schedule. And lots of work being done if you get an opportunity to look at that site. And it's a beautiful, beautiful school site. I talked about updating the board in terms of our modular classrooms and how that's going in terms of disposing of those. The procurement department is coordinating the identification, preparation, and disposal of select modular classrooms no longer needed by the system. 63 units have been identified. To date, 29 units have been sold online via Gov Deals, and an additional 6 classrooms have been transferred to other agencies, and I talked with you all about those transfers. Currently, there are 5 modular classrooms set for sale online, with 6 units being added as we wait to get all the electrical and other hookups removed. So that's where we are in terms of ridding ourselves of our portable learning cottages. School nutrition, take a look at item 1, meal payment plus. Year-to-date revenues for December 2011 are $301,499.69, and that's $43,341.15 more than the amount received during the same time period last year. And this is an increase of 16.8%. So again, that continues to be a very, very successful program and a benefit to our parents. Any questions about our operations report?
Dr. Carpenter, what do you know? You may not know, and don't have to answer if you don't, about any possible changes in QBE formulas?
There has been some discussion. I heard a presentation back at Bootstrap. And from the presentation I heard, the legislators were really on board with accepting these recommendations that have come out of the work of a committee. So I think you'll see those recommendations being brought forward. Not having them in front of me, I can't quote them, but I can email the presentation to the board or my notes from that presentation. But it's a phase-in. Some things will occur during the next year, and some are 2 years out, and some are 3 years out. But they are looking at revamping some of the QBE pieces per the work of these committees. For example, student transportation is one of them. They're wondering how they're going to tackle that animal, and they got some proposals out there. I'll forward you all that presentation if you want to take a look at it. But the words that were used was that they're really, really, really serious about overhauling QBE and looking at making some modifications there.
Okay.
Nursing program was another one. And I think there was a net increase, but it could offer some differences in terms of how much money we receive. Again, all of that's going to come out of the legislative session if they go down those roads.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Carpenter.
All right.
Item B, curriculum, Ms. Fury.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. The curriculum instruction and technology report under research-based instructional strategies, there are 3 items, and we'll just look at the first 2. As you know, we've been administering benchmarks across the system in grades 1 through 12, and during the month of December, we completed the 2nd benchmark. And this will help us with identifying strengths and weaknesses prior to the high-stakes assessments in May for the EOCTs and the CRCTs. And it also helps us look at how we are implementing the instructional strategies that we're working on across the system, in an effort to implement research-based instructional strategies and build background knowledge. Number 2, approximately 1,600 4th grade students and teachers attended the Newton County Arts Association's production of the Nutcracker on December the 9th. And prior to the performances, the teachers are given curriculum guides to help them sort of tell the students what they're about to see and give background information. Field experiences such as attendance at cultural events are critical in building students' background knowledge. Under technology integration, number 1, on December 13th, Promethean brought a film crew to Flint Hill Elementary School to produce a case study film that will be shared once it's edited worldwide on Promethean Planet, which is one of the resources that we use on the active boards, and they have different sorts of interactive tools there. It's quite an honor to be selected for this case study. Many people worldwide will be looking at Flint Hill Elementary School as an example of what the future school should look like in a technology-enriched learning environment. Support activities. Leslie Coleman, the media specialist at Veterans Memorial Middle School, was selected by her peers as the Newton County School System's Media Specialist of the Year. Number 6, this is something that's a little bit different due to some state changes regarding EOCTs. So the EOCTs were administered in December to students who took dual enrollment courses or who were recovering credit. It was a very small number of students. As you know, we'll administer EOCTs at the end of May. The district created new guidelines within the state guidelines set in November of 2011 for retesting students who fail an EOCT, starting with the winter 2011 administration. Students who do not pass an EOCT are required to participate in remediation and retake the failed EOCT. Students who take an EOCT in December and do not pass must remediate and retest in February. Students who take an EOCT in May and do not pass must remediate and retest in June, with some stipulations in place. Number 8, physical education teachers from all schools participated in FitnessGram training on December 6th. FitnessGram is a state-required assessment used to measure the physical fitness of students participating in all physical education classes in grades K through 12. The art displayed on the second floor was provided from students at Livingston and Indian Creek Middle School. And number 11, the district PBIS team, or Positive Behavioral Interventions and Support Team, met, and we intend to implement PBIS in all of our middle schools in August of 2012. And finally, the school system conducted the District Literacy Days competition, which focuses on recitation, drama, and ready writing on December the 7th. And you can see the winners of each of the contests, the system recitation contest winners, the ready writing competition winners, and the system drama team winners. And there was a story posted on the system webpage that says the same exact thing. Any questions?
Where was the EOCT?
I think it's number 6,
Yeah.
yes.
So for example, a student who takes an EOCT in May and does
Yes.
not pass, but is a senior, let's say they need to retake the econ EOCT.
The seniors-
Is the diploma held until passage of the
No.
EOCT?
This year's seniors, because of the year-long schedule, we are not going to impact graduation with
Okay.
EOCTs. The systems are not required to administer an EOCT retake. However, the EOCTs impact our AYP status. So it behooves us to set some sort of stipulations in place to encourage kids to retake the EOCTs. So for seniors, for econ, no.
Gotcha.
We don't want to impact graduation with an EOCT. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Matt, I think we have a presentation.
We do, Mr. Chairman and ladies and gentlemen of the board. In a recent conversation with South Salem Principal Holly Du Bois, Holly was sharing with me some of the things they were doing in technology at South Salem. As the board well knows, we've had 3 major areas of professional development over the last year and a half: research-based instructional strategies, of which there are 9. Actually, there are more, but we focused on 9. Building background knowledge of our students, especially by way of vocabulary, and using technology to better engage students in their learning. That said, here's Ms. Du Bois and Jennifer Williams, the lead instructional technology teacher at South Salem Elementary.
Good evening. I am Holly Du Bois, principal at South Salem. And when someone asks me what is special or outstanding about South Salem, the first thing that comes to my mind is our technology that we have. We are so fortunate to have 2 to 4 student computers for every classroom. We have 2 30-man student computer labs, active boards in every classroom, multiple sets of active votes and active expressions. We have 2 iPad carts with 30 iPads for students. We have 2 iPad carts with 25 individual iPad carts for students, giving us a total of 110 iPads within the building. All of this equipment is wonderful, But the real magic is what the teachers and students are doing with this technology. Dr. Matthews has asked me to show you tonight a snapshot of what technology looks like at South Salem. Why technology? Well, we're raising a digital generation of children. Technology is their medium for children today. They don't talk, they don't dial, they text. They download. They use search engines, not encyclopedias. They Google, they spell check, they blog, they Skype, and they game. If you don't game, you are lame. At South Salem, we're 86% free and reduced lunch. Believe it or not, about 86% of our student population and families have internet access at their home or through their phone. So we're communicating constantly via email, through internet. What we're seeing at school, parents and students can download and do at home as well. It's a remarkable tool. In this age of technology going wild, it's often the student who is teaching the teacher how to engage in new technology, the latest download, the latest new technology toy. They have it before we do. Kids get this stuff, they speak the language, they have the hand-eye coordination that I know I will never master. It's their world, and we need to use every gigabyte to enhance our learning experience here in the schools. Technology is allowing our teachers to meet the individual needs of students better than we have ever been able to do before. Whether we're building background knowledge, assessing what students know and what they don't know, giving them guided practice, direct instructions, one-on-one tutorials. Through technology, we're doing this better than ever, faster than ever, and we're certainly engaging students in an effective way than we've never been able to capture their attention before. We have the power to expose students to a world they may never see outside of Covington, Georgia. We're connecting them to an ever-changing world. I want to share with you some of the resources that we use at South Salem to make the most of this equipment. All right, one of the things that we're using is NetTracker. NetTracker is nothing but an educational search engine for teachers. Let me give you an example of what I might be doing. If I'm a third grade teacher and one of our standards is teaching Georgia landforms, and I know I've got students in my classroom who've never seen the Georgia coast or have never seen the Blue Ridge Mountains, I can go to NetTracker, I can Google Georgia landforms. They're going to give me all types of virtual images. I can take children on a virtual field trip to St. Simons, Georgia, and they can see the sea turtles. They can really experience the coast. I can take them to the Blue Ridge Mountains. They can see images, have that virtual field trip, something that I haven't been able to do in the past. So that's an amazing, powerful tool to build that background knowledge, to give everybody a level playing field if they've not had those experiences in the past. So NetTracker is the Google site for teachers. We're using it constantly. It's constantly giving us ways to supplement our curriculum. Another very exciting tool that we have is eLearn. If you're a teacher at South Salem Elementary, you have an eLearn page. And I'm going to give you an example and show you Jennifer's eLearn page. Every parent has access to this who has access to the computer at home, and I'm talking about 86% of our parents have this, and students as well. Parents and students can access this at school or at home. If they're absent from school, they can get assignments. If they've missed tutorials, they can pick this up here. The teachers have downloaded this with all types of videos, tutorials, supplemental things to help supplement what they're doing in the classroom. The teachers have put practice tests on here, different resources for them to use. When parents don't know how to help their kids with long division, I've had teachers videotape themselves teaching a long division lesson so that parents then can duplicate that at home as a resource to help their kids at home as well. I think parents like this better than the children do, but it's an exciting, exciting way. Two of the tools that we use, that you'll see a lot from NetTracker and eLearn, are BrainPop and Discovery Streaming. Both of these are just educational websites that have just tons and tons of digital images, games, assessments, videos, things to supplement that we're doing. Brain to Pop is really geared for the younger children, a K-5 curriculum, and then Discovery Streaming is all grade levels. Once again, I do a search what I'm looking for. If I'm teaching the states of matter, I can pull up a video, I can pull up assessments, I can pull up tutorials, games, interactive that the children can see. And you're going to see examples of that when I turn this over to Jennifer, which I'm going to do right now. She's going to talk to you a little about the excitement and all the things that we're doing using our active boards, but especially using our iPads. You all have an iPad with you, and she's going to walk you through some of the activities actually what our children are doing. I'm going to ask Diane Garrett to come up, and Diane and I are going to be behind you to assist you if you need any help with that. Don't be shy, because we had one. Thanks, Jennifer.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Williams, and I am a technology teacher leader, the instructional coach, and the 5th grade EIP teacher at South Salem Elementary. And today I want to tell you some of the things that I do with the teachers as far as modeling technology in the classroom effectively. The primary tools that I use when I'm teaching teachers and I'm teaching students are the active board, my active votes and expressions. This is the example of the active board. My desktop using my e-learn page, and iPad apps, which is our newest acquisition. We know the most important thing to do in a classroom is to engage students. But sometimes some of the subjects that we're teaching aren't that motivating to students. They don't want to learn it. It seems boring. I know a couple of years ago when I taught in Fulton County, I had a chalkboard. And I taught this lesson, how do chemical and physical changes differ? And it was based on standard S5P2A and C. And I thought I did a really good job, but my students were just not into it. It was boring because they had no background knowledge. So the question is, how do I help my students gain background knowledge while engaging them? Well, ta-da! My active board is a great tool because it not only allows me to give them background knowledge, but it's a fun and exciting way for them. So what I want to do is right now I want to show you a video that I will use with my class while teaching this lesson. And it's from a site I found this year that I was so excited about called Study Jams, which is hosted by Scholastic, which is a renowned guru in education. Before I would teach my lesson, of course I would go over key vocabulary that they need to know in order to master this lesson, which is matter and property. I also would give them a purpose. And in front of you, you have a Venn diagram. And we would talk about the Venn diagram, how it shows, it contrasts and compares how physical and chemical changes are alike and different. I would invite my students to take notes as we go along, so as they're watching the video, they're actually interacting not only with the video, but with themselves and with their peers. So we're gonna take a moment and watch the video.
Are we gonna be tested on this?
There will be a test.
To pay attention.
I love marshmallows.
What? Don't talk with your mouth full, Mia.
Immediately you see it's animated, so it catches their attention.
I love marshmallows.
Oh, me too. But you know what I love even more? S'mores. I brought chocolate and graham crackers so we can make some.
Yeah, RJ. Hey, what's up? Something wrong?
These crackers are all broken into pieces. Look.
No worries. It's just a physical change.
What do you mean physical change?
Physical change is just when the size, shape, or state of matter changes. See, the crack?
At this point in the video, I would stop and I would have my students talk to their shoulder partner. Okay, what is a physical change? Not only does this appeal to their visual modality, but also to their auditory modality. So they're not only hearing it, but they're seeing it, and the words are connecting with them.
It's broken, so its shape is different. But the pieces are still graham crackers. We can use them.
Yeah, I know. It just stinks that they broke. I don't know how it happened.
Well, physical changes like this happen a few different ways. Motion, pressure, or even temperature could have made the crackers break.
I guess I was a little rough with my backpack when they were in there. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown it around.
Probably not. Throwing the crackers around is probably exactly why they're broken now. But as small as the pieces are, they are still graham crackers, and their molecules haven't changed.
Well, there's no way I could change their molecules. How would I do that?
There are ways. When the molecules of matter change, it's called a chemical change. Chemical changes.
I would stop here and I would ask my students, well, we heard something just now. What did you hear? How are chemical changes and physical changes alike? How do they differ? Because I want to go back to the standard. This video directly correlates to the standard with me just being a facilitator in the room.
Usually can't be reversed like physical changes can. When the molecules change, the matter turns into something totally different, like the logs in our fire.
But the logs are still logs.
They are, but not for long. The extreme heat of the fire is causing a chemical change that turns the logs from wood to ash.
Huh. Yeah, I see some ash at the bottom of the fire. I guess I didn't realize it used to be the logs. How can you tell that it's a chemical change?
There are clues. If gas forms, if light or heat appears when the change takes place, or something changes colors. You know, like when you see a penny that looks green, or rust at the bottom of an old car.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. So I guess it's good that I didn't drop the box of crackers in the fire, huh?
That would have meant no s'mores for us. If the crackers had been burnt, we wouldn't have been able to turn them back into crackers. We probably wouldn't even be able to tell they were crackers to begin with. So really, broken crackers, not so bad.
And burnt crackers? No good.
You got it.
This would be the last time I would stop the video. I would have my students talk to their shoulder partners and explain exactly what they've learned in the video so I can see how they process their information. This gives them a chance not only to interact with each other about the video, but it also gives them a chance to put some ideas down on paper in case they didn't have opportunity to do so. Then we would compare our answers with the answers that the video is giving us for some of
Okay,
it.
I think I understand the difference between a physical and chemical change now. Breaking the crackers was just a physical change because only the form of the crackers was changed. Temperature, pressure, or motion, like me throwing my bag around, can cause physical change. A chemical change changes the molecules in matter, and that can't usually be reversed. A physical change can be reversed most of the time.
Not wrong.
I'm just gonna pretend I understood that and say thank you.
Do you see how this video truly is interactive with students, how it appeals to them? But it goes a step further. After I show the video, I can choose to do one of two things. I can give my students an assessment using my active expressions in the classroom as a group, or I can individually put this into my e-learn page, have my students go back and re-watch the video, and then take the assessment themselves. I'll just show you quickly an example. It's formatted just like the CRCT, where they get a choice of questions and they have questions. So that's just one way that we can engage students. The next way that we engage students at South Salem is use interactive learning centers. And in our centers, we use various activities. Today, I'm just going to show you 3 activities that we would use. We're all using our new acquirement, the iPads. So we use apps, iBooks, and blogs. All of the board members, you have an iPad in front of you. At this time, please press your home key. And don't worry, audience, I'm gonna hook you up so you can see exactly what we're doing at the same time. So please press Math 2. And you'll come to an app that says Arithmetic. This app is an invaluable tool in the classroom because it allows you not only to differentiate by skill, but by level, skill level, and activity. For example, if I have a student in my classroom who has not mastered multiplication facts, which happens all the time in 5th grade, I can go in and I can have that student just go and click app multiplication and then start at the beginning level. As they begin to master the skill, they can move down each level. If they get a question correct, they get an apple. Apple for the student instead of the teacher this time. It's timed. And time is Ooh, you done mastered some fact over there. Time is very important because we want our students to have automaticity because the CRCT is timed. So we want them not to waste their time counting up to 10 or trying to say what's 2 times 2, drawing pictures. We want them to know it. So this helps them with their drills. Please take a moment to just peruse and play, and then we'll play together on the screen. I'll show you.
It's okay to be addition easy. Feel free to start.
Make sure I get them all right. Press 5. So the minute I'm touching the numbers, you see how my time is running out? The apples are going away.
Miss
Let's
some
go
on
to-
purpose, and it'll give you an idea what happens to the students. Miss a
Okay.
couple on
Okay,
purpose
sure.
and see how they have reaction.
Like Friday?
Mhm, yes. So they get immediate feedback on what's going on.
That's really
And
good.
they love the timer. And they get very competitive with each other.
I'm gonna get some wrong. See how it tells me that I'm wrong and I have to start
Oh,
again.
the apples disappear. I see now.
And then
That's pretty good.
my time. It
And when
also
you're
tells me
out
my
of
current
apples, your
score
game is over.
and it tells me my
Oh,
old
okay.
score, so it allows me to try to beat my score. Okay, 30 more
So you
seconds.
lose the apple when you put the wrong answer in. I got you.
And it takes them away as your timer ticks down as well.
Okay.
Oh, and then you gain some back as well.
Yes, you can
Okay.
gain that, you can gain that. By getting so many in a row, you'll gain some apples back. Just
Okay.
like in a gaming situation.
Oh, I don't need that. I'm done, I don't want to play anymore.
That's really neat.
That's what I need.
The same apps are on your
That's a
iPhone.
And the
Cool
beauty
app.
of this is I can work with 6 kids at their level, all doing independent different things and monitor that situation. And everybody's individual needs are being met.
Okay, so let's focus our attention back here on the board. Thank you.
You'll go back to your home button.
The next thing I want to show you are iBooks. It's a whole new world out there with iBooks. We know that our media centers have but so many books. They have a certain allotment of books. And in the month of October, 4th grade studies Native Americans. Well, if all the classrooms are studying Native Americans and there are 40 books in the library, there's about 100 students who are left without books. So the students don't all have the opportunity to use a book at the same time. I have a subscription to Reading A through Z. And through my personal subscription, I can download books. Well, the great thing is with my subscription, I can download books to all my iPads. All the books are leveled. So in my classroom, I have different levels of students. I can have my students read a level Z book or a level Y book based on their need. This is great because not only is the book mine permanently, but it didn't cost me anything extra. And I can virtually have thousands of books in my classroom available to all my students at their level at one time. So I don't have to wait to check something out. I can stay on pace with the pacing schedule, and I can follow the standards while meeting their individual needs in the classroom. So iBooks allows us to use many different books from many different sites at one time. What I would like you to do now, board members, that you have an iPad, please go to the books folder. Click iBooks, tap it, and you'll get to a story that says the Cherokees.
Not so hard.
So,
Right, go to books, not so hard. Perfect. Right, it's right up for you. Just peruse this way. And you can go backwards and forwards.
And for everybody in the audience, I'm just going to show you it here. What you have in front of you are focus questions. And of course, all reading teachers know that you want to have a purpose for reading. You want to set that purpose with your students. So before we start a lesson, typically, I would go through the focus questions. And I just want to share with you one focus question and show you what you can do with your iBooks. So, question number 1, what did Debbie find in the soil? On page 6, so please swipe to page 6. And the numbers are listed at the bottom for your convenience. The question said, what did Debbie find in the soil? The ranger reached forward and gently took the object from the girl's hand. She looked at it and smiled a bit sadly, Debbie thought. It's a flint arrowhead, the ranger said, probably made hundreds of years ago by a Cherokee warrior. I can use this activity with a small group here at the active board with me, and then my more advanced group, I can have them read by themselves. At the active board, I can circle the answer to the question and then go back and forth with my students and give them more support. For my students who are independent learners, they can read the story on their own and answer the questions. Thank you. Please hit your home button. The last thing I want to share with you is Soapbox. So on your home screen, on the bottom, it says Soapbox. Please tap the Soapbox and you should get to this screen that says Join a Soapbox. Inside the button, inside the rectangular shaped object, the blank, is going to be a key. Just tap in there and you're going to type in this password. Listening? Okay, it's 5335JW. And then press join. And now you're joining my class's Soapbox. You're going to enter your name. And press save. Soapbox is, in short, a blog. It's a discussion area that allows student-to-student conversation and student-to-teacher conversation so that you can have a whole group discussion without having students feel intimidated. It encourages whole class participation. And we know a lot of students in the classroom are shy. And if you ask a question, some of the students will never raise their hands, whereas other students always have their hand up. This allows students to freely express their opinions on social topics, math topics, freely, and have the other students converse back and forth with them. So, for our purposes today, we're going to do a discussion. Please look at the second discussion question. It says, if you saw a classmate cheating on a test, would you tell the teacher why or why not? Please click that, tap it. And in the reply box, please tap your reply. You'll notice that you get real-time information and real-time answers. So it's two parts. Would you tell and why?
Okay, so here's this. If you saw a classmate cheating on a test, would you tell the teacher why or why not?
And you in the audience, think about it. Would you tell and why?
The keyboard's going to come up, and then you can just type in your answer. And if you, sometimes when you see things that are not here, go to here, and that gives you
Now,
some
I did this
options.
earlier with one of my students
takes
because
you
I
about
knew
2
I was
minutes.
coming today, and I had them answer the questions, the two students. And one student answered the question directly. She said, yes, I would tell the teacher because cheating is not right. Each person is responsible for their own work, and in the end, you are only cheating yourself. So I would be helping the student, actually. Another student replied to her response, which goes along with the question. She says, I agree, so she's agreeing. Each person is responsible for their own work. Cheating children become cheating adults. Everyone should live up to their full potential. And she happened to put her name at the end because she was proud of her answer.
And board members, if you don't know, realize what you're doing, you're blogging. So you go home and tell your kids you blogged today.
And then as you see, as you're answering, your answers are coming up as part of the blog. Now, as a teacher, I have control of what's going on with the blog. So if you happen to put something down that I felt was inappropriate or an answer that I didn't feel that was appropriate, I could just simply go in as a teacher and delete it.
And I don't know a college class today that this isn't the way teachers and students communicate with each other, and that students don't communicate with each other within that. There's always class blogs, students post questions, teacher responds to the question, if assignments have been there. This is the way college students are communicating. Us doing this at the elementary level, we're building those skills for our children to be successful at post-secondary educational sites. So it's exciting.
So in summary, how is technology impacting student learning? Because after all of this, I know you want to know how it's impacting student learning. Well, number one, it builds background knowledge. It gives them something to, some information ahead of time. It motivates and engages students to learn, and it motivates the teachers to teach. and it teaches to their learning styles. Every child is different, but every child that I've put an iPad in front of has been motivated simply for the fact that they get to touch it. So when all else fails, technology is the way to go because it's the medium that our students are using, and they know. Thank you.
And to take that to the next step further, because our building is wireless, anyone who walks in with a smartphone can access this information. Those of you who had a smartphone tonight, you could have downloaded this app and you could participate in like right along with us. The hottest thing at South Salem right now is Dojo. Did you get any Dojo points today? Dojo is a behavioral, is a website for behavioral management. The teachers are all walking around with their smartphones. When their children are walking in South Salem style, they're giving them a Dojo point. When they're walking around in class and they're having a great response, they'll give them a Dojo point. The kids are all collecting Dojo points. It constantly feeds at the top of their active board. It gives a running total of who's got the most Dojo points for the day. And it's just amazing. And that's because we're being able to do that through being a wireless building. It's amazing what we're being able to do with technology that the school system is providing us and that individuals can bring into it as well. It's very exciting.
It really is. See if I'm testing 1, 2. It really is, Holly. And I wanted to mention this to our board members. And Jennifer, thank you. Job well done. I wish you were my teacher. I can tell you that. Last week, Ms. Fury and I interviewed 5 graduates of our Newton County high schools. 2 are currently at the University of Georgia. 2 are currently at Georgia Tech. And 1 was at the Georgia College and State University. And to a person, every one of those young persons, of whom you've been very proud, by the way, emphasized how inundated their school environment is with technology. It didn't matter the teacher, it didn't matter the process or the product, it was about technology. So we are preparing our kids for their future, be it college or some other post-secondary pursuit, and our youngsters brought that through, as did Ms. Du Bois and Ms. Williams here this evening. Well
Let's give
done.
our board members a round of applause. They were awesome on the iPads for their first time. That was great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much for that information, Mr. Chair, and I think we all can see that's where we're headed to with our technology. Having said that, enrollment, Ms. Fury?
All right, for our enrollment report, as of January 5th, 2012, we have in our schools 19,185 students. At this same time last year, January 6th, 2011, we enrolled 19,000, or had on the enrollment 19,273 students for a difference of 88 students.
Okay, thank you. Old business, Dr. Matthews, I believe that's Dr. Proctor. Item A, on item A.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. What I have to present for you tonight is a revision of policy JBCC. JBCC is the policy that has been on the table for the month of December and up to this point in January. This policy is primarily dealing with, the change is dealing with the placement of students in our schools, assigning them to another school based on a particular program available at that school. You'll see on number 3 there, the only suggestion that we had for change came from you as board members, and you'll see the sentence that was added. On number 3 in the red, it's the second full sentence. Students and parents should refer to the annually published student handbook to review programs offered at each high school, rather than us including those program names within the policy. Your suggestion was that we refer them to the student handbooks that are revised on an annual basis. So with that being said, the superintendent recommends this policy be adopted as presented when we meet next week.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Proctor. Any questions from any of the board members? New business, Dr. Carpenter, I think you have items A through C.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In item A, the superintendent recommends the adoption of the FY13 tentative budget calendar. Just as a matter of background, the budget calendar is set to coincide with the adoption of the final budget prior to the adjournment of the final board meeting in the month of June. Once we finalize enrollment projections, schools will receive an allotment that will have projected student enrollments and staffing for the 12-13 school year. And staffing will be based on maximum class size as approved by the State Board of Education. I don't foresee any changes in our allocation numbers in terms of what we did this year and what we'll do next year. It'll be identical. Guaranteed budgets will be based on the same amount per projected student as applied in 11-12, and those numbers are there on the calendar for you to see. You also have time set aside for the board to hold budget work sessions and public hearings as needed. So you have the budget calendar there. The only thing different about this year's calendar in comparison to last year's calendar is we did have the process by which we cut $8.2 million, and there were several dates that were set aside to go through the surveys and completion and that kind of thing, so that's not included in this year's calendar. Any questions about item A?
Any questions from any of the board members?
Are there any things in terms of budget? I know about this time last year, we were hearing about possible places to look for cuts and those kind of things. I haven't heard that at this same time, I guess, about this year. Are there things that are impending that we don't yet know about, or maybe I don't know?
Let me respond to that. We'll know more about how the budget will stack up. Testing one. We'll know more about how the budget will stack up, obviously, as the General Assembly proceeds. At this time, here's what we can say to you again. We've done a 2 to 3 year projection of our budget status. We know some of the variables. Obviously, we don't know all the variables. My judgment tonight would be that for the coming 12-13 school year, we hold pat. That is, while we can look for some efficiencies to save some dollars where that's possible, we should do that, just as a matter of course. But in terms of any major budget reductions for the coming 12-13, I don't think we should go there in the upcoming budget process. Here's why. We don't know how the local economy might evolve over the course of the next fiscal year. We don't know how state and/or federal governments might impact us, though I do not necessarily believe they'll impact us positively, so I will say that. So getting through the 12-13 school year would not be unimportant given the $8.2 million that we cut for this school year and the upheaval that that obviously brings. We could take the coming year, see how things begin to shake out in an uncertain economy. We're going to have a presidential election. We all know that. And then as we head to 13-14, we know now that we will likely have a deficit budget at the end of 13-14. So going into fiscal year 13-14, my best judgment is we'll cut several million dollars. But we don't have to do that for 12-13. And we don't know whether that several million dollars will be 6 or 2. So I think we should give ourselves some time necessarily to see how the economy evolves and have a more constant and more productive, even I hope, 12-13 because of that strategy. Now I will say this as a heads up. While that I think is a prudent strategy for us to take to see how things evolve, there will be districts all around us who are going to be cutting multi-millions for 12-13. I know that just from my Griffin-Risa meetings where my colleague superintendents are saying they're going to cut substantially. But remember, in Newton County, we cut $8.2 million coming into the current school year. So we've done some big cutting that they're now getting to in a lot of places around us. But I would suggest that we wait and see how things shake out and that whatever cuts may come, if any, for 13-14, that we do them at the end of the coming 12-13 school year. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah. Any questions?
That's better than what I heard last year.
No questions, move on to item B, Dr. Carpenter.
Yes, sir. In item B, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract awarded to Associated Paper, Conyers, Georgia, for the comprehensive custodial program be renewed for an additional contract period. The effective date of the renewal would be January 18th, 2012, and expiration date of January 17th, 2013. Just as a matter of background, that contract was originally awarded in January of 2008. The contractor has performed well, and the data gathered shows that the program has been successful. Estimated annual value of the contract is $462,100, and that figure represents a decrease of $57,900 in the price of the total program contracted the previous year. Those anticipated savings have been realized by freezing the cost of the core program at the 11 levels and by limiting the purchase of new equipment. So we're trying to affect the savings there on that contract.
Any questions?
Yeah, Dr. Carpenter, when I was looking at this over the weekend, freezing the cost of the core program, what did that look like?
No increases.
Okay, so actually, this is a savings.
Yes.
Okay.
And in item C, the superintendent recommends declaring the items on the attached forms as surplus and no longer serviceable to our school system, authorizing the appropriate disposal. And those items, as you'll see, come from Alcovey High School, Fairview Elementary School, Indian Creek Middle, and Mansfield Elementary School.
Any questions?
I don't have a question on this particular item, but if I may go back to, we were talking about the portable classrooms.
Yes, sir.
How many do we have on location now? And how many, where we are in terms of getting to zero?
Well, you authorized the disposal of a number, and I can't remember that number, somewhere in
That's
the 80, but we're not trying to get to zero. We're trying to dispose of those that we authorized, and we are keeping some on hand that we declared to be in pretty good condition, I'm sorry. So we're not trying to get rid of all of them, but we're on the road to disposing of those that you've authorized us to get rid of. I think we're probably, how many did they authorize? Anybody? 63? And we've gotten rid of the number you see there, so we're on our way.
Okay,
Did
thank you.
Washington Street ever take another one? Did they ever want another one? Do you
I didn't
remember?
think they wanted another one because of space.
Okay.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Dr. Carpenter. Item D, Ms. Ferry.
Please give C.
As you'll recall, on December 14th, at a special called board meeting, we met to review considerations for the Newton County Theme School expansion for the 12-13 year and also for the 13-14 year as well. In those considerations, we discussed changes regarding organizational structure, space availability, financial matters, and extracurricular activities. As a result of the discussion that we had, we decided, and you directed us to develop a survey that was to be administered to the parents of the current 5th and 6th grade students to garner input relative to athletics. And so you should have a copy of the survey that was sent out that itemized the list of options that we reviewed, and you'll see the number of respondents that we received relative to both items. And as a result of the information we received from the theme school parents in grades 5 and 6, the superintendent recommends that students who attend the Newton County Theme School who wish to participate in athletics participate in Newton County Theme School sports or intramurals, while allowing some to join their zoned middle schools with transportation to be provided by the parents of the participating students. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
The question I said that I was going to ask. Did you guys find out how, because this is something that will impact other schools, so most certainly we want to make sure that other schools will be open to this.
Yes.
So did you have an opportunity to talk to the other middle schools?
I
To see
did.
how they felt
I
about
actually
this?
conducted a meeting. I don't recall the exact date, and the principals participated in the meeting, and I presented all the options to them. And we had a discussion about just everything that would revolve around accepting students into their programs. And January 3rd. And just as I suspected, they're willing to do whatever we ask them to do. And as you asked in the previous called board meeting, you know, how will the coaches accept them? And I think our principals in our middle schools have a strong command of their programs, and I expect that they would ensure that any student who wishes to participate in a zoned school activity would be accepted and treated just as anybody else who is currently in that zoned school. So we met and we talked for probably 2 hours, just about trying to make sure that we were all on the same sheet of music, and that when we walked out the door, we had consensus about what we would do going forward.
Now, make sure I'm clear. Did this survey go out to all the middle school parents?
It went to the theme school 5th and 6th grade parents. We were asking the parents of the theme school, what their wishes were for the athletics and extracurricular activities.
I would like to know how the other schools' parents felt about it as well.
Oh, we didn't survey the other schools, we just surveyed the
Right,
the
but I think
parents
it would
of
be good information because
Okay.
those are potential folks that may want to attend.
to attend the theme school.
Right.
I think when the theme school does its, one of the comments that one of the folks sitting in the audience mentioned was that they would like for us to make a decision about what we're going to offer at the theme school, so that when they establish their publicity campaign, which will be coming up in the next few weeks, they want to be able to tell prospective parents, these are the things that we will offer at the theme school regarding intramurals or the opportunity to participate in the zone schools. So we didn't survey the base school parents. We're just trying to gear up so that our theme school can offer and put in writing what they'll offer as extracurricular activities.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Are these four totals, if you add these four together, is that the total number of respondents?
I think that Dr. Smith reported that while all students received the survey, not all parents responded.
That's normal.
And so while they would wish for more participation with the survey itself, this is the results that we've received.
But that's probably about right, because
Yeah,
fifth and sixth
right.
grade doesn't have that many
Right.
classes.
It's not all
What-
students, it was just
what
fifth and
is
sixth grade.
this survey, what is this data telling us?
It's telling us that they're split about what sorts of activities they wish to have, and that the school system was recommending the hybrid model so that they had kind of the best of both worlds. They can develop some intramurals at their schools, but they also want the availability of participating at the zone schools. And so it seems that they prefer the first two, which the last one is a combination of. So the 19 and
I gotcha.
18 plus the 23 equal the lion's share of the participants in the survey.
I have another question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And I don't want to go back to, I don't want to backtrack and go to what happened before with the negative. But what did happen before? Because that didn't work before, right?
They
Or
went
was
to
it-
one zoned school.
That's what it was?
Yes.
Okay.
They went to one zoned school. This one, they're going back to
Their
whatever school they would be
resident.
zoned for.
Okay.
So they'll be dispersed.
Okay, so it won't be as confusing.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This is to be voted on
Next week.
next week.
Yes, sir.
What are you asking,
Yes.
what are you asking us to vote on?
We're asking you to approve that we go with a hybrid model for our theme school participants in athletics, so that the
Okay.
theme school parents and with support from me and from Ken, will be able to have discussions about intramurals and what sorts of things they wish to do at the school level, and then have some discussion about what other athletic possibilities there are.
Because that model really gives more freedom to you all and to the parents.
Yes.
Which is, I like that.
Yes.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Communication. Okay, because I'm just reading while allowing some to participate with other middle schools. So how would they find out? Okay, so like, just using cheerleading, for example. That middle school cousins, if they have cheerleading trials, it's typically gonna be an announcement. It's specifically cousins. It's not gonna be on the website or anything.
Right.
So what was the communication
Well,
piece?
when I met with the principals, that's one of the things that we talked about, and every school does things a little bit differently. So just based on my experience as a middle school principal with the high schools having tryouts and our 8th grade students having to participate, we do a pretty good job of communicating between and among schools so that if Cousins is having something going on, we can make sure that the theme school parents, the 7th grade students next year and the 8th grade students beyond that, get the appropriate communication that they need to make a decision about what they want to do. We just have to be informed. Our school level principals have to know what sorts of things we're doing and then what expectation there is to communicate with the theme school. And a lot of it is electronic. We also have the coaches of those schools will come to the schools and do little short spiels about what it means to be a cheerleader, what it means to be a football player, and the amount of time associated with that.
So we will have a communication piece here, because I just don't
Yes.
want to see what happened, a
Yes.
situation arise where, well, you guys should have,
Notified us.
yeah, or you should have looked out for yourself, looked yourself to see when we were having
Right,
tryouts.
right.
or
Well, I
something like
think
that.
just based on the experience I've had with the principals, the response that I've received was favorable. So I don't see that we'll have an
Okay.
issue where we won't get the information where it needs to be.
It seems like websites could be updated and communicate that to some degree. There should be some responsibility on folks to check those websites. I know that, that would make sense. I mean, Sherry, you wouldn't do messengers on this kind of stuff. that'd be overwhelming.
level.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, I haven't been as in touch with the theme school parent organization as I was in the past, but if I'm not mistaken, they have a parent organization to whom we could communicate through
Yeah.
the schools, and then I think they have a website.
They may have a listserv.
Yeah,
I
that we
don't
can
know.
post everything and just make sure maybe the one
You
person
blast
in
it
the
all at one
parent
time.
organization could get the information and then make sure that that's posted along with the principal and everybody else who needs it.
Question,
So-
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Should we change the wording on this, because it's somewhat confusing when it says allowing some to participate?
Well, I think the sum is just those who wish to participate. So I guess we could change it to say those who
Because
wish to participate.
it's kind of, yeah.
Sure. That's not a problem. It's not exclusionary. In other words, if you want to
How would you
participate and you're
change the
accepted,
wording?
just to say those who are who
Who
wish to
elect
participate and
wish
are,
to
Who wish to,
participate,
yeah.
right. and-
Instead of some, because it sounds like you're not going to include everybody.
Right, we'll include everyone and the other, they would have to go through the same process as everybody else.
Right,
and
exactly.
They may not be
Right.
accepted on a team.
Right.
but, I'll be happy to.
Any
change
other
that.
questions or comments?
Fine.
No, I like the hybrid idea because it gives freedom
Yes.
to you all.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.